Well, I haven't put out a video in a little while. And as many of you know, I fell off the diet at the beginning of all this. And I've been off the diet. Now, when I say off the diet, I mean once every couple days having a normal standard American diet meal. Completely unhealthy. Giving no fucks, mind you, too. Like, I had cookies. It was all bad. I'm paying the price for it, health-wise, definitely. If anything, it's confirming a lot. When you're on keto for 4 or 5 years, you begin to kind of lose sight of the benefits because you've been doing it for so long. So if anything, stepping out of this for the past 3 weeks has taught me is I was right about a lot of shit. One of the most important things is depression. That was my number one concern. Like, if I could eat whatever the fuck I want and never get depressed, I'd be a fat, hospitalized piece of shit. But depression is something I've been trying to avoid for quite a while now, and I found that the carnivore diet and ketovore to a degree, I was fine. Like, I would still get minor depressions, but they would last an hour, maybe 2 hours. I just got through a 3-day motherfucking depression. And when I say I got through it, I'm a little on the low side right now. But, I feel like I'm coming out of it. It's to the point now where I'm so, used to it that I'm able to kind of gauge where I'm at in the depression. But it was pretty rough, especially yesterday. I feel like it peaked. And now I seem to be coming down. I did have a couple cookies today. And that was it. But they're gone now. And all I got left is keto shit in the truck for the next 4 days. Unfortunately, my refrigerator has been fucking with me. It's been freezing my shit. I got 2 things of heavy cream sitting in the back there that I'm thawing. So I don't know if you're allowed to freeze heavy cream, but it's probably gonna suck. I still put it in my coffee, though. Which I got my COVID-19 coffee from the Circle K here in Massachusetts. That's where I'm at. With no load. Freight has been slowing down lately. Which is not surprising given the economy. But hopefully now with things starting to reopen here or there, things will pick back up a bit. But, yeah. If not, we're fucked. But then again, we got that big meat packing shortage that's going to come. We're going to have a meat shortage. Now, it was Tyson, so they don't put out a lot of healthy meat. I don't think I've ever knowingly bought Tyson shit. But I think that'll reverberate to the surrounding, meat plants as we'll have panic buying and basically it'll be hard for me to get my ribeyes. I did spend $45 and buy 4 ribeyes for the truck, and that's the only benefit of the fact that my shitty fucking 20-year-old fucking office refrigerator seems to be freezing shit is it froze my steaks, so I have to thaw them out when I decide to make them. Today I just had some pepperoni wrapped mozzarella cheese with some low-carb pizza sauce, even though I had the cookies, kind of offsets any of that. But I need to get back on the ball with my diet because, the depressions are just not gonna cut it out here. I need to really start fasting my way through the shitty food environment that's out here, and that's gonna be hard to do, being all the restrictions that are in place and how much of a pain it is to get good food right now. I struggled to get these ribeyes I found. I could only buy the 4-pack. I couldn't buy 1 or 2 ribeyes, which is usually what I would do. So I'm good for a good week or so. I'm going to try and just eat off the truck, and then I'm going to start interspersing fat fasting in between. I don't know if I'll do alternate day fat fasting or if I'll just do long fasts to try and offset any bad decisions I make diet-wise. But I just can't be putting myself in this position to where I get depressed out here. It's just not, it's not good. All right. Cause you're out here by yourself 99% of the time. And being out here by yourself and depressed leads to bad things. So I'm doing all right today, though. So don't panic. Don't worry about any of that. I wanted to get on here and kind of share, because I know I'm not the only one fucking up on their diet right now. My mother, who's diabetic, as many of you know, got caught cheating on the diet. You see, I got my buddy Steve while I'm on the road looking out for my mother. And this was completely accidental that he found out this. But apparently he went to a gas station. Yes, Mom, if you're watching, I'm outing you. My mother went to a gas station, and it happened to be that Steve was going to the gas station. And I guess he walked up, and my mother was sitting out in front. Now, this is during this fucking outbreak, so she's breaking like all kinds of fucking rules for someone who's in the vulnerable population. You know, being diabetic and old is, you know, two factors that weigh heavily on whether or not you survive the COVID. And she's sitting out in front of Burn Dairy, which is a little gas station chain up in New York. Good heavy cream though. But, she's sitting out in front of fucking Burn Dairy eating a slice of pizza. And she pretends, this is according to Steve, she pretends like she don't know Steve at first. She's just like kind of trying to play it off. And then, he of course was laughing and was giving her shit. Because, Steve, he's not into this diet shit. He's like, I'm telling. And sure enough, he did tell. And she didn't want it. She didn't admit it to me at first. She'd mentioned that she ran into Steve and got busted. Going out, I'm like, and she's, it's her decision ultimately. If she goes out and risks her life with, not only with COVID-19, but with giving up her diet, it is entirely, I'm disappointed, but at the end of the day, it is her decision. I just, wish she would make a better couple decisions in this. One of the whole points of me getting in this truck is to not constantly be putting her at risk. The sooner or later you roll the dice enough times, you're gonna lose. You can't win all the time. But that being said, I think we're all getting to the point now where we're like, hey, let's roll the dice, because this isn't life. Now some people like staying cooped up in their house, but I can tell you, being out here as an essential worker, and I still think we're all essential to this economy. If it's a machine, and when you can't take out parts of the machine and have it work just the way it's supposed to. And I'm seeing that as an essential worker, as a truck driver. There's times when I'm going to be sitting on my ass out here because people aren't out in the economy. We're seeing it in the breakdown of the food supply chain right now, simply because there's less people eating in restaurants and stuff like that, so there's less demand, and lots of agricultural places are wasting food. And then you add into that the COVID outbreaks in some of the meatpacking plants, which have reduced the workforce of essential workers to not being able to go into work, and they've had to shut down those plants, and that's going to lead to a disruption in the food supply chain. We're fucking all this up, and eventually we're going to get to the point, and I think we're already there in a lot of states, that we're just going to say fuck it. And it's probably something we should have done all along. Now, before you get, their pitchforks and your torches and shit and get ready to fucking, beat me to death on the internet, know that these shutdowns were never designed to prevent the spread of the virus. They were designed to slow the spread of the virus. The virus is still going to spread. It's just whether or not we overwhelm the healthcare system. That's the most decisive factor that could add possible fatalities to this equation that can otherwise be avoided. It's double from what I'm seeing of the new numbers. We're talking double the lethality of the flu. And when you add that in with the flu, it's not a pretty picture. But that being said, you know, we take risks if we live life. You cannot live a sheltered, risk-free life. Whenever you step outside your door, even if you're staying at home, you're still taking a decisive amount of risk. So it becomes risk versus reward. And for me, the reward is freedom. That is at most that we've given up the most of. You know, I'm willing to risk it. And that's why I jumped in the truck. You know, I could have stayed at home and collected money and sat on my ass from the government. I could have done that. Is that the life I want? No. I don't want to sit at home. So that's why I came out here. That's why I decided to get in this truck again. You know, being broke from all my income streams collapsing actually, weighed in. Plus, I was trying to run Uber as my main source of income, and I saw the writing on the wall there. Plus, I would be exposing people on a regular basis to the same risks I was taking, and at least out here, I limit my contact with people. I still have contact. I still saw my friends. I still saw my mother. But I'm not always around, so that lowers the chances. Plus, I have no symptoms. I get my temperature shot at me, multiple customers all over the place. I wear my mask in the places where I have to wear my mask. I like a good, obedient motherfucker. That's what I'm doing, yeah. And, it's kind of been, I think we just need to stop letting the media and the government prey upon our fear and seize more and more of our freedom. The media loves it that you're afraid and that you agree with them and that you're staying home and watching their shit. That's what the media wants, and they're fighting to draw this out as long as humanly possible. Every state that opens up, there's a shit-talking fucking media story about it. All those authoritative sources that Susan loves so much are all dissuading all of this. No matter how much evidence there is that you can open up in some places without sacrificing extra lives. The original, if you go back in the Cuomo speeches, of us being the worst state in the union that is dealing with this, he always said in the beginning, and you notice he hasn't said it anymore, that we were designing this to prevent overwhelming the healthcare system. You can go back and watch his early daily briefings, and you will see that he said that. Well, here we are with the shit's going down. Our healthcare capacity is well below what we thought it would be. So we're not in danger of necessarily overwhelming, at this time, the healthcare system. And do I think we turn the switch back on full bore? No. But we can't. We have implemented enough workplace safety measures for those of us who have been working this whole fucking time to where we can probably start letting everyone do that same level of safety measures. And I have no problem with companies requiring me to stand a certain distance from people, from if I have symptoms, I can't come to work or go into a customer or go into a business. I have no problem with that. That seems a lot more reasonable than hiding in the house. And for us doing this tactic of tattletaling on each other in this dystopian fucking world we seem to be coveting. I don't want this control and policing of ourselves and this paranoia and this tribalism that's going on with this whole fucking thing. I realize it's a basic human instinct to fear the unknown, and that a lot of people do not find it a comfortable life to face that fear. But I'm out here facing the fear, and I can tell you I wouldn't have it any other way. I went in to get this coffee. I'm in Massachusetts. There's no mandatory mask rule in Massachusetts. And nobody's fucking, 1 out of every 5 people seem to be wearing masks. Nobody in any of the workplaces are wearing masks. And you know what? We're fine. their numbers are the same as everywhere else. So, it becomes a matter of, and the other thing that I think we've been relying on too much is scientific data. And I've spent the last couple of years on my channel debunking and talking shit about our corrupt science. Now all of a sudden it's gospel that we're going to make horrible restrictive laws based on data from these places that have had their head in their fucking ass for the past 50 years when it comes to public health. Are you fucking kidding me? Stop putting so much trust in these universities who have been fucking us in the ass health-wise. Look at our diabetes rate, look at our heart disease rate, and tell me they've been getting it right all this time, right? And the pharmaceutical industry will want their hand up our ass. So, yeah, I don't even know if I can put this video on YouTube now at this point. That's how crazy this shit is. Even though I haven't said the magic words. Who knows? I don't know that the bots can figure out exactly what the hell I'm talking about. But I imagine that nobody with that most people with some kind of intelligence will be able to figure out what I'm talking about right now. I'm glad that we're starting to reopen. I decided to take my next home time in South Dakota. I actually spent 8 years of my life there when I was in the military, and I've decided that since South Dakota never shut down, never issued a stay-at-home order this entire time, that seemed like a good place to go. And last I checked, I can still go there. Mainly probably because I'm a truck driver. But I think they've maintained the majority of constitutional rights throughout this epidemic. And I want to go somewhere right now that is enjoying that kind of freedom. Now, granted, they have some, they have a lowered population density, which is probably why they have a minimal problem with it. And from what the stories I've read, people just naturally stayed home during this. And, without being told to, which is fucking great. Let's get back to making our own decisions now. If you're afraid of the virus, stay home. Don't come out unless you absolutely have to. Take some personal responsibility, but that doesn't mean be angry at those of us that don't choose that same path. Most of the people that are going out in the world now realize the risk they are taking. There's nobody out here that is like, oh, I'm good, I'm immune. No, well, there might be a few dumbasses, but it's still, most people realize the risk they're taking. They're not taking chances with exposing their loved ones. They're doing the social distancing rules for the most part that are in place wherever they're at. They're using common sense. They're washing their hands. They're a little more OCD now than we used to be. And that's all well and good, but it's our decision. It should never have been government's decision. They could have recommended, they can put workplace safety things in place, but shutting down businesses and trampling all over the Constitution, I believe, was not only unnecessary, I believe it was the wrong move. And when you look at places like Sweden that did not do that, you can see the evidence in the numbers. And, that being said, people are still going to be, well, we're saving lives. And somehow that virtue signals that if you stay home, you're a better human or some shit. We're not saving lives. The same people who are going to die from this virus are still going to die from this virus. You did not prevent it. You just prolonged how long it's going to take for that to happen. Are you suggesting that we stay inside for the rest of our lives? That we completely change our way of life to avoid going out and being exposed to this virus, or waiting a year for a vaccine? Which, how did that work out for the flu? I mean, just saying, we don't know that the vaccine's the end-all be-all of this, and people are still going to fucking be exposed to it and are still going to die. Now, I'm not insensitive to that. I think it sucks. It's like getting hit with a tornado. It sucks. But we're going to get hit with this tornado. We can only stay in the bomb shelter for so long. We have to eventually go out and get food and get, income going. Otherwise, our whole entire lives are collapsing. They're projecting millions of people are going to starve if we don't open up everything within the next month or so. So basically we're saying, okay, we'll starve millions of people to prevent thousands of people from dying. And we're not preventing it, is the thing. We're slowing it down. We're prolonging the agony instead of ripping the Band-Aid off. And, that's where we're at with it. This was never about stopping the virus. And it never will be. Because it is impossible to shut down for the period of time that would be necessary to eradicate the virus. And you would not be able to open anything. No supermarkets, no Walmarts, no nothing. We're talking go out, get all your shit, and go home for a month and don't leave the house for an entire fucking month. Then you could get rid of the virus. It's not going to happen. Nobody will go for that, especially if you're in a free country. Let's get our heads out of our asses, all right? Take more precautions. Be more careful. And this will help you with other infectious diseases as well. Follow the guidelines as best as you can, but not at the peril of our freedom and our ability to earn a living and to survive. More and more people are getting out. And that's one of the things I noticed even in my comments that people were calling protesters stupid. You got to understand, those people protesting have nowhere to go. They're losing everything. That takes lives. That matters. That doesn't make them stupid. There are stupid people. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of dumbasses. Doesn't necessarily make them wrong. They're protesting because their businesses are going bankrupt. They can't pay their rent. They can't feed their family. They're not protesting so they can go get their hair done. You got to understand that they're out there because they are losing everything. And that's why I believe a lot of states are starting to cave into that pressure and opening. But the media is going to continue to talk shit about it. And anytime the numbers tick up in any one of these states, mark my words, the media is going to be there with a camera to make you afraid. Don't be afraid. Face this. It's not going anywhere. It'll wait for you for 6 months. You stay in your house for 6 months. It'll be there waiting when you walk out your front door 6 months from now. You're going to have to take your chance with this at some point because we can't hide forever. This is a long-term storm. No vaccine is going to stop this. There's going to be no cure. We'll get better at taking care of motherfuckers. There is that. The only way we do that is through practice and pressure. So, this whole fucking desire, there's people protesting opening back up now. So basically you're saying it's okay to starve people, to have them lose their entire life. And, just so the rest of you can stay home and watch Netflix and collect the fucking check from the government. I don't think that that's quite the message we need to be sending to our government right now, who is a little bit too drunk on the power that they've had during this. And I want to see that change. There's some governors who are definitely enjoying this as far as the power that they have and the respect and the attention that they're getting. Cuomo is fapping every day. He is on there every fucking day saying the same fucking shit. We're not opening yet. We've got to be careful. We can't be stupid. Every day, same message. Okay, why do we need you to do that every day? We don't. You're doing it for a reason, motherfucker, and I see right through it. And, you know, I don't know. I'm just frustrated with the whole backlash that people are getting for wanting to get back out there and get back to work and live their life. And I can tell I'm not alone in this. You know, I have seen people gathering, seen people going out, seen people pushing the rules as much as they can. I see it all over the country because I'm there. I'm not looking at through the lens of CNN when I'm giving you this opinion. This is my opinion from being out here among people, seeing those of us who are not hiding at home, and realizing how important everyone is to our way of life. So don't let anybody tell you you're not essential. Every single one of you is essential. Now, if you want to choose to stay home because you're afraid of catching the virus or you're afraid of infecting somebody, that is your freedom. But that does not give you the right to take that away from everyone else. All right? Yes, they're saying what I do affects other people. Well, that is a two-way street. If everyone stays home, that is going to affect a lot more people than the virus. And when you see a complete economic collapse and a Great Depression, which I would argue we're already approaching, to where people can't fucking eat. They're waiting in food bank lines, and then you throw in the fact that the food supply chain might get disrupted. You're going to see a lot more suffering and death than the virus could ever wrought on us. Is that a word? Wrought? That's something. I don't know. Maybe I should read books and shit. But I'm glad that we might get back to normal by next year. It's not this year. I did think it was pretty fucking hilarious the Vegetable Police rebranding his shit. I have been especially entertained by his shit lately. Just gotta say. He finally noticed that maybe Susan isn't on his side in terms of talking about health. If you like this video or the trucking vlogs, please like and subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching this on LBRY, please follow, and you can leave some LBC and some support and help boost. I don't have any LBC in there. I pulled that out when we hit almost 2 cents. So yeah, I think we went over. Did we go over 2 cents? I think we went over 2 cents. I missed that bus, but I'll be reinvesting when it dips again. So for now, I can't boost my videos on LBRY. So if any of you would like to just boost my shit, that'd be cool. That'd help out a lot. That'd help me get back on my feed in LBRY. And I'll keep making these videos when I can, keeping in mind that sometimes I get too busy out here. And I'll try and make some shit. I did bring my other camera out here. I'm going to give it a shot. I can actually use this to film while I'm driving too, so there's that. We'll see how it comes out. I'm curious if this camera is going to get the job done. I've been working on my music shit too. I'm getting turns out Ableton Live, you can do a 3-month trial of the full version right now. So I'm doing that, learning that software. I'll probably end up picking that up as part of my music production shit. But I'm definitely trying to work on things out here. I'll continue to share my journey out here and living in a truck again, getting back to minimalism, although maybe a little less minimalist than I was last time I lived in a truck. As in, I have all my needs in here. I literally do. I got fucking the refrigerator. I'm good. I'm good out here. And I picked up a new laptop, so we're good there. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. And shit. I don't want to be stuck in Massachusetts. Can you get me the fuck out of Massachusetts already? Tomorrow I'll move to the truck stop if I don't get a load. Which is, I believe, close to New Hampshire. So there's that. But what the fuck do I know? Because I'm not an expert. I'm not an authoritative source. I'm just some fucking dickhead in a truck. So, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Obey your overlords. I'm for sure 100% positive that Cuomo is looking out for you and cares. Yeah, he cares about you. You're important to him. Even if you don't live in New York, he loves you. He wants to give you hugs. Yeah. He's a man of the people, that Cuomo. I'll tell you. He's taking such good care of New York this entire time before this virus. He was doing a good job. Have a nice motherfucking day. And shit.